Please come help me. There's a guy.
Lloyd.
There's a guy in a mask. There's a chick.
I don't know.
They're filming it. I think it's some kind of sex thing. I don't want it happening outside my house. Hey everybody, it's 89 Technical. And the technical producer.
Oh, boy.
Now, yes, we are in a car. Why are we in a car? Well, okay, would you like to tell them what happened the last time we tried to do this?
We almost got arrested.
Okay, so.
Can you see?
About 20 days ago, their technical producer went on the lam all the way to the West Coast thinking she could get away from me. But eventually she had to come back. And now we get to start our brand new series called TP Reads Aloud. This flash drive contains my fan fiction called Well, I'm not going to say what it's called. You get
Stay tuned and you'll see what it's called.
Now, if you watch my Legend of Korra rant, which I know you didn't,
if you haven't, we're going to link
nobody watches this channel.
Click the annotation or the link in the description box.
Because nobody watches this channel and nobody really gives a shit.
Not yet.
Except for two people. Hello, Awkward Canadian. Hello, Mariana.
There's two?
Well, one watches, one's not subscribed, one is subscribed.
Gotcha.
So at least two people.
We love you guys.
So at least two people who are not us watches it. Hello, Marianne. Hello, that awkward Canadian guy. We decided to make a new TV show, or YouTube show. And this is perfect because it's Geek Week. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm an old school geek. She's an old school geek. Now, the difference between a geek and a nerd is, a nerd is how do I put this? A nerd is somebody who's into things like games and social video games and all those other things, and they have a connected base. A geek, on the other hand, is someone who does all that stuff by themselves. They tend to be a loner. And this includes things like reading. So if you're a bookworm, congratulations, you're a geek. YouTube doesn't seem to know what the proper definition is. Yeah. So, in honor of Geek Week, I think, TP, we're ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to plug this flash drive in. We're going to read it. Now remember, this is her punishment for making me watch The Legend of Korra. And telling me, it's not that she made me watch The Legend of Korra so much as she told me it was
I did not say it was good. I just said watch it.
She told me
it's not as good as Avatar, but
she told me it would answer all my questions.
No, I did not.
That I had at the end of Avatar.
It's completely different. Why would I say that?
She was sick at the time. I still don't forgive her. But we're gonna have her read this and we're gonna film a reaction. Now, while she sets up, allow me to explain. We tried to do this earlier, a few days ago. And we nearly got arrested because a strange girl and a guy in a mask were parked outside of somebody's house at 1 o'clock in the morning.
One with a laptop, one with a mask, and a camera. It did not end well.
Yeah, so that kind of killed the mood. So we're going to do it again, and we're going to film her initial reaction. She's going to have to act through most of it. Shh. Okay.
We're editing that out.
Ready. Episode 1 of TP Reads Aloud.
Yay. Alright. I have to read everything now, don't I?
Yes.
Zukara. A love story of betrayal. It's not my favorite Avatar couple, I'm sorry. Sorry, Zukara fans.
Zukara, for those of you who don't know, is a cross between Zuko and Katara's name.
Katara and Aang for the win. Yes. Whatever, it's canon, I'm good. So this is just, yeah.
Now we were originally going to read this, and there's a dirtier version. And every time we came to a part where it's separated to the dirtier version, I was going to read the dirtier version, so you guys know. But it turned out to be really, really uncomfortable because pornographic erotica is meant to be read in your head. And reading it aloud, alone. and reading it aloud, really, it doesn't sound, it's just no. Now I understand why porn, the acting is so bad. It's not that they have bad scripts, it's just that reading them aloud sucks.
It's not fun.
Trust me, try this. Go to any pornographic story site. Click any one of them and just skip to the dirty bits. And try reading them aloud. I guarantee you, and just listen to yourself. It doesn't translate well into spoken words. But all that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to read it. When we reach a part where she is absolutely uncomfortable, she's just going to read it silently.
Part 3.
And here's what I'm thinking we can do. What I'm thinking we can do is we can like put little subtitles saying what it actually says.
Okay.
And just match it up to her face.
Or you could just read it. Because
No.
you're so okay with this.
This is your punishment. You get to read it. Okay.
I'm still reading it in my head. It's just you're saying it for the lovely viewers out there.
The lovely viewer, singular.
You don't know. Okay.
Hopefully her parents never find this. I doubt they will, because although she has a YouTube channel, they don't watch it. They don't care.
They didn't know what fan fiction was. I think we're good.
They didn't even know what fan fiction. We literally just had to explain to them what fan fiction
10 minutes
was.
ago, that's what we were doing.
And now they're supportive of it. So.
They're like, wow, that's really cool, but they don't know what kind of fan fiction this is.
Anyways, we're wasting time.
Yes,
we're just wasting
let's go. Zukara, a love story of betrayal.
Here, let me focus the camera.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know what this looks like. Warning, explicit content, you think, may cause uncontrollable fangirl tears and hatred for the author. For you. All rights reserved, July 2013, and then there's a silly face because he knows I'm not gonna enjoy this. Part 1. Bending out the truth. Part 1's not too bad.
She loved part 1. Let's face it.
Part 4 was okay. Anyway.
When we reach part 4, I'm going to have her read from the really dirty version, because that's a complete part.
Oh, actually, okay.
There's no pornographic parts in that one.
Okay.
It's just it's more complete.
Okay.
Allow me to explain what happened. I wrote...
That's like the best timing ever.
Hold that. Hold that.
Oh, I don't want to knock it over.
Hello. Hey everybody, it's us again. Okay, so I got a phone call from my friend who was wondering where we were going to be on Friday, and we told her. But then we said, you know what, it's very hot in here, let's wind down the windows. And we could
Simple
not find...
thing, really.
We could not find the key. So we closed everything, like literally video stops. Guys, we have to find this key. And we had no idea where the key was, because literally...
We like tore this car apart.
We literally tore this car apart in order to try and find this key. And finally we found it on TP's side. It's wedged right in there.
Yeah, thank God.
Oh, good Lord.
Good Lord.
Now we've put the key right in here. Now if the key disappears again, we know that we're dealing with something supernatural. We have to purify the car by ritual of fire. Because I don't have any holy water on me right now.
Yeah,
but I do have matches.
Crisis averted.
I do have matches and a virgin. So we could purify the car by ritual of fire.
But it's okay. It's all good. We found the key.
Ugh, get out of my face. Stupid thing.
Well, there's still daylight too, so
yep.
Thank heavens.
Could you imagine we finished the video and it's like, where's the key? Oh my God, it's
ready to go
morning.
home. We're tired. We're exhausted.
Well, you could go like right over there.
Well, still, no. I'd be like, we're finding this key.
That would be funny. You have to drive me home. Yeah, we couldn't find the key to the car. Meanwhile. Anyways, so back to the story.
Jeez.
Back to the
we
story
almost
that
get
never
arrested. We lose keys. This is just.
The fates do not want us to make this video.
You see, this is an evil story.
I know it's an evil.
If it would have been Katara and Aang, we would have had this done days ago.
I know it's an evil story. That's why I wrote it. It's your punishment.
I should get points for finding the keys.
You did get points. Okay, guys, let me explain that. In March, we went to a car show and we saw my dream car. And I said to Christina, if I ever buy this car or a car like it, I'm taking out a restraining order on you.
We would no longer be friends.
We couldn't be friends because she'd want to drive the car. But because she found the keys, she doesn't get to have a restraining order taken out on her.
Thank you so much.
So, on with the show.
All right. For the third time's the charm, so let's do this.
Cut!
I am prepared for more.
Hi, Christina's mom.
Yeah, watch. She's like watching from that window. We just can't see her. Anyway. Zukara, a love story of betrayal. Warning, explicit content may cause uncontrollable fangirl tears and hatred for the author. All rights reserved, July 2013. Part 1. Finding out the truth. Here we go. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
They were traveling through the Fire Kingdom colonies, looking for the mother that Zuko needed to feel whole. They'd stopped to rest and were building camp. Toph, who was carrying firewood, suddenly dropped her bundle. She became rigid and very focused, sensing the earth. Katara, Aang, and Zuko noticed immediately and looked to her, awaiting the danger she was about to predict. Sokka went about his business until Zuko grabbed him to alert him of the danger. He drew his sword, anticipating a fight. Saber-toothed moose lions, an entire herd coming this way. Can we outrun them? Aang queried. Although he and his friends were the most powerful benders in the world, he still preferred flight to fighting when possible. It was his nature as an airbender to avoid confrontation when possible. No time, Toph stated. They'll be on top of us any second, and they'll destroy our camp if we leave. But I can make them go around us. They haven't scented us yet. They could hear the sound of the herd as it rumbled forward and saw trees shaking as they came through the underbrush. In one swift movement, Toph raised a wall of stone around them, high enough that even a kangadeer couldn't jump it in one bound, much less a moose lion.
You got all the names that the people who invented Avatar give.
Honestly, I don't even remember them. Toph finished her movement, and as she placed her arms out, her fingers brushed across Katara's abdomen, and with her earthbending, she sensed something that shouldn't be there. It begins here, ladies and gents. Toph focused her earthbending and saw another heart beating in Katara's womb. Ah! She gasped.
There the fangirl tears.
Katara noticed, and for an instant, connecting with Toph, sharing the revelation that neither of them could believe. Yeah, I can't believe it either.
Listen, time out. It is a well-established fact in the canon of Avatar that Katara had Zuko's illegitimate son before she had Aang's kids. As a matter of fact, there's even a theory that the
guy from Legend of Korra.
That the guy from Legend of Korra is not the Airbender, but the one who can't bend. That he's actually the illegitimate son of Zuko and Katara.
Why can't he bend?
Because fire and water cancel each other out.
Alright, whatever. Wouldn't it be funny if that came up in season 2? Oh my god.
Screw the Legend of Korra. It is a garbage. It's
no, but if they did say that, like, you'd be calling me going, aha! I told you!
I told you so. Zutara lives! And she'd be like, no!
Alright.
I'd have a dead body on my hands, literally. It would probably be mine. Because she'd be like, I hate you!
I hate you so much.
It's all your fault!
Okay. Katara knew she couldn't let Toph confirm what she'd sensed right at this moment in front of everyone and ran, hoping not only to distance herself from her friends, but also, vainly, that she could outrun Toph's discovery. Toph knew she had to distract the boys so they wouldn't inquire. Sokka, Aang, take Appa and make sure they go far, far away. Zuko, stay here and guard the camp. I'm going to make sure none of them got through the wall with Katara. The boys did as they were told, and Toph went after Katara, hoping she could make sense of everything she'd just learned. She didn't have to go far. She found Katara kneeling behind a bush. Katara, Toph called, but Katara saw Toph and ran again. Doesn't she know you can't hide from a blind earthbender? I'll have to sneak up on her if I want my answers, though. I actually really like that line. Toph tracked Katara down again to a small clearing. She was kneeling again, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. Her hands seemed to be searching for something inside, running up and down her sides. At that moment, Toph stuck. She raised a tent.
Struck!
It says stuck. Okay, I made that mistake last time. You spelling. She raised a tent of stone all around Katara, trapping her in an earthen cocoon.
Autocorrect.
Yeah. From which she could not run. Katara couldn't let Toph come near. She knew the earthbender could sense things that the others couldn't, but Katara had to know for herself. She had to be sure. A finite hope that maybe, just maybe, Toph was wrong.
Would you like to pronounce it the way you did the first time?
What did I say? Like finite or something weird? See, the thing is, when I read by myself and I see a word I don't know how to pronounce, I just keep going. I don't care. Anyway, Katara heard Toph coming, so she ran through the thick underbrush, hoping that the branches and bushes would slow down the blind earthbender long enough that she could do what she needed to do. She was using a technique taught to her by two separate women. A waterbending healer from the North Pole and a waterbending witch from the Southern Water Tribe living in the Fire Nation who had taught her the terrible art of bloodbending. Apart, they were completely different, but Katara had been combining them in order to be able to look into the body to see exactly what the damage was and manipulate the chi to heal even the deadliest wounds. Now she was using the pregnancy techniques and bloodbending to feel if there was a child inside her. She needed to know if there was a heart inside her body that wasn't her own. Katara concentrated, starting in her heart, the blood rushing through her veins and arteries, moving down, further, past her stomach. She felt her bending moving past her kidneys, past her guts, into the veins around her uterus, into a special artery, her heart filling with angst and fear as she felt herself travel further through the child's umbilical cord, right to the beating heart of the new life within her. A single tear leaked out from her eye, shut so tightly she couldn't see the ghost of images of the clearing around her. The combined pulse of both their hearts drowned out the rustle of the approaching earthbender. At that moment, the clearing was cut off from her by earthen walls, leaving Katara in the dark. She unlocked the bag at her waist, preparing fearfully to face the new adversary.
Unlocked? I read unlocked?
Oh, uncorked, sorry.
I thought that didn't sound right.
Wow, you know your own story so well. That's
well,
good.
I wrote the damn thing.
Yeah, but still.
Why would
like
I know the story?
Pages. The ground moved beneath her, and Toph appeared before her, planting a hand perfectly on her torso. You can't run from an earthbender any more than you could run away from what I saw. You're pregnant, Toph said excitedly. Damn it. Katara turned away from Toph, the tears running freely down her face. Yeah, that's going to be me in a minute. Toph could
That's you right now.
Toph could sense many things.
Hang on, let me wind up some of the windows.
The smallest ant a mile, if people walk by, they're going to be like, what are they reading? Toph could sense many things, the smallest ant a mile away, or the honesty of an enemy turned friend, but she wasn't very good with people's emotions. She couldn't sense the fear or shame that Katara felt, knowing the consequences of her actions. Her tears fell to the earth. Katara, why are you crying? How did this happen? Toph was becoming suspicious. She didn't know why, but there was something wrong with this situation. She needed answers. Katara, answer me! You can't run from my questions. Who's the father? Is it Aang? Jet? Yeah, Jet. Toph was sensing Katara's heart rate now, trying to find the truth. It wasn't Aang, and it couldn't be Jet. That was almost 2 months ago. Even Sokka would have noticed. It couldn't be Sokka. He was her brother. Thank God. That left only one person in their group.
I could write that in.
Yes, you know what? That would be worse. That would be even worse.
I could switch this whole thing around and make it worse.
Maybe Zutara.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
No. That only left one person in the group. The one person that Katara had recently spent a lot of time alone with. But it couldn't be. It seemed impossible. Toph whispered his name to see Katara's reaction. And scrolling. Is it Zuko? Toph felt Katara's heart jerk. It is him, isn't it? Did he force himself on you? Toph felt Katara's heart stagger and her eyes widened in shock.
I love how that's the second question that comes to Toph's mind as soon as she finds out.
He did.
Was it consensual?
Oh my gosh.
Is it Zuko? Was it consensual?
Oh my god, he did force you, didn't he? Toph yelled, anger replacing her concern. Katara turned sharply. No, it wasn't like that. Her heart was racing. Ugh, okay. You're lying, Katara. Why are you protecting him? If it's because of your child, forget it, because I'm taking care of it right now. So if you don't know by now, Toph's my favorite character in this story. Toph bent herself into the earth, moving outside while keeping Katara trapped inside.
Christina sees herself as Katara, so this is very offensive to her.
Katara wedged herself into one of the gaps between the earth walls. Toph, stop! You don't understand! Let me out! I can explain! No! Toph shouted back. I won't let you stop me! Katara had to escape. She drew her water and blasted the rock wall. She drew the water out again and blasted the rock wall again. It started to crack. She froze the water in the cracks and forced her way through. I'm coming, Zuko, I'm coming. Oh, God. Zuko sat by the fire, waiting for everyone to come back.
Slow down.
This is how into it I am. He was certain that they were safe, so he sat in the sun and rested. He leaned back on his hands, soaking in the warmth. Suddenly, the soil closed in around his limbs, locking him to the ground, unable to move. He struggled against the bonds, to no avail, looking around wildly for the location of his attacker. Toph stepped out of the trees, her face contorted in a fury. She shifted her foot ever so slightly, crushing Zuko's hands, causing him to yell in pain. He spotted Toph and called to her. Toph, Zuko called out, some earthbender is attacking me. Get me out and help me find them. Toph smiled darkly. I am the earthbender attacking you. She closed her fists and squeezed harder, almost breaking the bones in his arms as the stone stockades crushed his limbs. How could you, Zuko? She said darkly. How could you hurt Katara like that? We trusted you. I trusted you. Soap opera. Oh my gosh. I don't know what you're talking about, Toph. You want me to spell it out for you? You raped Katara and got her pregnant, and now I'm going to kill you and end your miserable life. What if it ended there?
Stop reading so fast.
Toph bent a giant spike out of the earth, ready to impale Zuko. Zuko closed his eyes, prepared to meet his fate. He knew nothing. He could say it would placate. I still
Placate.
Placate.
Come
I had
on.
it right. Toph's wrath. The last thought to go through his head was sorrow. Katara, forgive me. To be continued.
Tell them your reaction when I told you that on the phone.
Was it?
What? No!
Oh.
No, seriously, that was her reaction. I love the fact that to be continued is right at the end of the page.
Yeah, that was perfect. Part 2, the confession. Here we go. Even here now we get into the good stuff. No. Okay. Toph hefted the spike, intending to drive it and Zuko so far into the deep earth they would never be found. She didn't just want to kill Zuko, she was going to eliminate him entirely. The spike came crashing down, stopping just as the tip buried in Katara's chest.
What?
Say what?
No, that was literally her reaction.
Yeah,
What?
last time. The fact that the spike had stopped it all was a testament to her earthbending skills. Toph hefted the stone. The first centimeter dyed red with Katara's blood. Oh, so dramatic. She'd thrown herself over Zuko. It was the only way she could protect him. If she blasted Toph out of the way with her waterbending, the stone still would have fallen and killed Zuko, and there was no way she could stop the stone from falling in time. Please, Toph, don't hurt him, Katara said, engulfed in pain. The boulder wobbled, then dissolved into sand, showering all of them. Katara rolled off Zuko's body, clutching her chest where the rock had entered. Concentrating as hard as she could, she drew the blood together, and with her water healing, closed and mended the gap, until even the scar faded, and the only evidence she'd ever been wounded was the blood that stained her hand. Katara, are you okay? Toph asked, generally concerned for her friend. I'm fine.
Genuinely, not generally.
I said genuinely.
You said generally.
Did I? I'm fine, Katara answered, washing her hands.
Clearly you're not.
I'm not. Washing her hands with a little of her bending water. Good, because I'm still going to kill him. Toph flared again, grabbing another boulder with her bending, preparing to crush Zuko to death. Katara stood over him protectively, facing Toph. If you want him, you have to go through me. Why are you protecting him? Oh my god. Because he didn't do what you think he did. He never harmed me. Oh, righty, I'm supposed to believe that Prince Scarface here never intended to hurt you. Or maybe even that the child you're carrying isn't his. I felt your heart racing. I can tell when you're lying. Read my heart now and tell me if I'm lying. Oh, Zuko didn't hurt me. Zuko didn't hurt me. Angry tears were forming in her eyes, beginning to flow down her cheeks, her face flushed with emotion. Toph concentrated. Katara's pulse was hurried but steadied. She was angry and emotional, but she was also telling the truth. She threw the boulder away and released Zuko from his bonds. Katara turned away.
No, wait, can you just say she dropped the boulder or whatever, because...
Okay, Katara dropped the boulder. And turned away. Her tears now rolling freely down her face and mixing with the dust. Yeah, she couldn't bear to let them see her shame and sorrow.
Hang on. I need to make an edit there because... See, here's the thing. When I
No, don't use that. Don't.
When I wrote this story...
Use the mouse.
Why are we at the third act and then some?
Because you used the broken keypad, sorry.
Okay, hang on. Let me make an edit there, and then you can reread that. Hammering in his chest, blah, 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 blah. Be quiet. Please stop, don't hurt him, blah, blah, blah. Even I have to now tell me if I'm lying, blah, 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 blah. She threw the boulder away. She didn't release Zuko from his bonds. I'm sorry, guys. I wrote this over a couple of days. So you just go delete. Okay, read that part. Read that sentence again. We're gonna cut it together.
Let me read the one before it, too. Katara's pulse was hurried but steadied. She was angry and emotional, but she was also telling the truth. She threw the boulder away. Katara turned away, her tears now rolling freely down her face and mixing with the dust. She couldn't bear to let them see her shame and sorrow. Katara, if you're telling the truth, why were you so evasive when I found out and tried to tell you? Why did you run, and why wouldn't you say anything? Let me just scroll first. Because I was afraid. Because I'm alone and I'm scared and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Tom went to Katara and took her hand. You can start at the beginning by telling me what happened. When did this happen? You're no more than 10 days along, and judging by your reaction, you didn't know you were pregnant until I told you.
Okay, time out. I know that a lot of you, if later when you watch this, you might research and go, hey, the heart doesn't start beating until 18 to 20 days in. Look, for the purposes of this story, let's just say it starts beating at 10, okay? Just go with it.
Fan fiction.
Just go with it.
It was Zuko who broke the silence. It was 10 days ago when both women turned on Zuko with a resounding, "Be quiet!" But he continued on. After Katara and I... 89 Technical is my sound effect person. Dop was having none of it. She wrapped a stone ring around his head and over his mouth to keep him silent. It's alright, Top. I'll tell you what happened. It was 10 days ago. Flashback. Flashback 5. They dealt with General Ra, but then they were still 2 days away from returning, even with Appa to carry them. Flying all day tired him, and they soon stopped by a waterfall rigged with cliffs, in a small clearing near some trees where they could forage. I'm saying it wrong.
Forage.
I know it. Yeah, I had it. Ugh! To be replaced with exhaustion from the task of finding Yon Ra. So when Appa decided it was time to rest, despite all the urgings of Zuko that they should go on
the line.
through the... Did I?
Yeah, you said forage and replace the feelings from Yon Ra.
Oh, dang. Forage and make... Oh, yeah. During the flight back, Katara felt her anger begin to dissipate, to be replaced with exhaustion from the task of finding Yon Ra. There we go. So when Appa decided it was time to rest, despite all the urgings of Zuko that they should go through the night, the respite was a welcome one.
Where are your mom and brother going?
Which car did they get?
The red one. They got into your car.
Was it my mom, too?
Yeah.
That's weird.
It should be interesting when they drive by.
No, they're gonna go the other way. That's weird. I don't know.
They didn't even notice.
Where are they going?
Anyways, back to the story.
Back to the story. Well, this is an eventful night. Despite this, Katara found it hard to rest, and after a few hours was awake again with no feeling at all. The revenge had left her empty. She simply didn't know what to do or how to feel. She knew if she thought about it, all the angry emotions would come back, so she blocked it out of her mind, concentrating on the tinkling sounds of the water as it pooled and flowed from the waterfall. She found herself rocking to the rhythm, an almost trance-like state, when it was broken by the sounds of firebending and heavy exertion. Zuko must be in trouble. Okay, and here we go again. Katara found herself strangely concerned for the boy who dogged her across the entire world and accompanied her on this quest. Her hatred of him was gone, but like revenge, she didn't know how to feel about it.
But like her revenge.
Oh, should there... Grammar now.
What?
But like her revenge... Oh, no, I read it wrong. Never mind. But like her revenge, she'd know how to feel about it.
I know how to write, you know. I've only been doing this my entire life.
Is that all? There was time enough to think about that later. Strangely, Appa seemed non-pulsed. How do you say that again?
It's pronounced nonplussed.
Plussed. Why is it you spelt it P-U-L?
Because it only takes the American version for some reason.
By the fighting, and even Momo didn't seem to notice. Odd, since they were usually the first ones to sense danger. Katara decided to be stealthy and investigate, getting closer and closer to the sound of the fighting. It seemed very one-sided, with Zuko giving most of the attack. Who could his adversary possibly be? She peered out of the bush and witnessed a mass of fireballs whizzing towards the rock face of one of the cliffs, blasting deeper and deeper into the stone. Zuko moved in the moonlight, sweat pouring off him in rivulets, as he practiced in the night against foes only he could see. He glowed in the waning light of almost full moon. So I read this the first time, and I'm like, oh, he's like Edward Cullen now. Except he sparkles and glows in the moonlight. Except Edward Cullen is during the day. So sun and moon. We have the moon here.
I didn't know. I've never read Twilight, so I didn't know.
No, with him though, he sparkles during the day, but now Zuko's glowing at night. I just thought that was really cool.
You've seen when the moonlight shines on things. They glow
I know.
really.
It's just my head. I'm sorry. That was my first thought for no apparent reason.
Oh, I don't know why.
Katara noticed him almost for the first time. I'm not a twihard.
Yes, you are.
No, I used to be, but I left it behind.
Used to be?
Once
you are, you always are. You are branded. Wait. Well, let's read on and you'll find out what I mean.
Okay, and Katara noticed him almost for the first time, not as the troubled boy or the ruthless hunter, but as a man, a warrior. His muscles were sculpted from years of training, taut and shimmering. Yeah, thanks, that helps. Beautiful as he fought on. He's gorgeous. He moved fangirls. He moved with an agility that rivaled even. No.
Wait, what?
No.
Did you say he's gorgeous? I'm pretty sure I didn't write the word gorgeous.
No. I just threw that in there.
Oh, so you are a fangirl. Okay.
Sarcastically. Nope, my sarcasm.
That's not sarcasm if that's the first thing that popped into your head.
He moved with an agility that rivaled even Aang. We just need to, like, cut that. His face, the scarred half, was turning away from her, and she saw that it was quite handsome.
Turned away from her.
Oh my god, I can't read, you guys.
Good lord! You read this better the first time.
I'm tired. Okay, even though I had like a boring day.
It was 1 a.m. when we read
I know. This makes no sense. An image appeared in her mind. What he must have looked like before the accident. The fight with his father that left him... Maimed? Damn it.
There's an A in front of the I. How do you not know what maimed look like? You read Twilight. For example, what's the name of the author who did that?
Stephanie Meyer.
Stephanie Meyer maimed the fantasy series when she added Stephanie Meyer maimed the fantasy genre when she wrote Twilight.
Alright, he was an Adonis in her mind. With a lean but chiseled body and a face that a girl could die for. Her fantasy began a feeling in her that she'd never felt before.
Hey, don't let this near the car, you know.
Shut up. Now that she was out of danger, her mind on matters of the flesh rather than survival or emotion. It began in her stomach, a tingling sensation like warm pins and needles that swiftly took hold of her lower hemisphere. And suddenly there was a damp killing between her thighs that broke out of her worship for Zuko's form.
I'm sorry.
Here we go. Shocked, she gasped. Why am I reading this again? Shocked, she gasped silently to find that her undercloth was wet, as though she peed herself. She filled with embarrassment. He's losing it. I'm okay. I am prepared for more. She filled with embarrassment, mostly from thinking that he could do that to her, but the feeling inside her didn't go away. Rather, it grew stronger. Katara was no dunce. She knew what was happening. From speculating about boys with other girls, she simply couldn't believe that it was happening to her now with Zuko. I can't believe it either. She knew she only had two options. What she should do and what she wanted to do. I don't know what I'm doing. Clearly, I can't even read tonight.
What she should do and what she wanted to do.
Katara made her decision. She removed her undercloth and placed it on the ground beside her, continuing to watch Zuko in her crouched position. Zuko suddenly stopped, becoming rigid as a steel rod. He slowly drew his arms around in a circle, completely composed, making the air sizzle with his movements, and as quickly as the blink of an eye shot lightning with deadly precision, blasting the cliff with a powerful blow, shattering it to smithereens. He brushed his hair as flakes of ash and chips of rock rained down around him. Katara, so distracted by this display of power, let her knee fall directly onto a twig. The snap was deafening in the silent aftermath of Zuko's devastating lightning attack. Faster than the eye could see, he turned towards the sound, and in one fluid motion blasted a lethal jet of fire into the bushes. "Come out and face me," he shouted as he rained down fire. Katara, sensing the attack that would follow her clumsy mistake, had backed up as far as she could, pressing herself into the wood of a tree. The firestorm cleared, and Zuko saw her by the light from his torch-like hands. "Katara," he said, befuddled and confused by her presence. "What are you doing here?"
Here you go.
Okay. Katara, he said, befuddled and confused by her presence. What are you doing here? I could have seriously hurt you with my fire, and Zuko stopped dead in his tracks as his foot found what Katara had silently prayed he would not. In her scramble to avoid the flames, Katara...
Wait, what? I heard like a laugh, and then Katara would silently... What?
What? Katara had silently prayed he would not...
Zuko stopped dead in his tracks
as his foot found what Katara had silently prayed he would not. In her scramble to avoid the flames, Katara had left her undercloth lying on the ground, where his foot was currently placed. She knew she could never get it before he picked it up, and watched in silent horror as he bent down to retrieve it, hoping, praying, begging the gods that he would not deduce what she'd been doing behind the bushes. Yet at the same time, her... Ah! Fly on my screen! Get off! Get off! Get off!
What?
Like... Okay.
Now your computer has AIDS.
Thanks a lot. It's all your fault.
Don't worry. I'll buy you a new computer. We'll put this
It has to be a Mac.
No, it'll be a PC.
No.
Look at all the problems this Mac has. Are you serious?
Okay. No, it's just the keypad. She knew she could never get to it before he picked it up and watched in silent horror as he bent down to retrieve it, hoping, praying, begging the gods that he would not deduce what she'd been doing behind the bushes. Yet at the same time, no, it's not okay. Yet at the same time, her mind was flooded with the rush of getting caught. Her heart was hammering in her chest as Zuko held her undercloth in his hands so loud she was sure he could hear it. Drowning out the sounds of the clearing. The gods must have sensed this, for as Zuko rubbed his thumb over the strip of cloth, he sensed the moisture there and could smell her pheromones. His nose detected it, and his subconscious made the discovery, telling his conscious imagination the revelation of what Katara had indeed been doing while watching him in the cover of darkness. Instinct and slight disbelief made his tongue move to form words that his mouth spoke for him. Is this your... He didn't need to finish the question. My goodness, as Katara's face immediately turned a deep shade of red, answering him silently but loudly. I'm gonna scroll.
I'm gonna have to wait for Windows so that, keep reading.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling. Katara knew that if anything else happened this night, she had to get that strip of cloth out of his hand. She jolted forward, hoping to be able to grab it and run into the underbrush, and hopefully off the edge of the world where no one could ever find her and question her about what just happened.
That's what she's hoping will happen once this story is done.
Yeah, that's what I want to do right now. Just, car keys. She made to grab it, but Zuko spread his fingers
That's not
wide.
creepy at all. A guy in a mask just locked you in the car.
It's like, I'm fine, and caught her right hand in his left hand, the prize sandwiched firmly between the two. Her momentum continued to push her forward.
First time she read that was like, the prize.
What kind of prize is that? And she reacted by putting out her other hand to stop herself. Zuko's reflexes were just as fast, though, and he caught her left hand the same way he'd caught her right. Off balance and firmly in his grip, Zuko pushed back, and Katara again found herself against the wood of the tree. Only this time with Zuko's body pressed firmly against hers, darn it, her hands in his, and his face mere moments above hers. His hair fell over his scar, and Katara again saw the Adonis in her vision, only this time she could feel him too, the weight of his hard muscular body pushing hers into his.
Marianne, I'm sorry.
They looked each other dead in the eye, and then Zuko made the decision. No! Okay,
Please judge me on the quality of my writing, not the content.
Moving his face forward, he kissed her, pushing her head right back against the tree. Fangirls! This
is the part where Christina starts to get angry.
Yeah, from here on out. As soon as she made contact with the wood behind her, she made the same decision to push back, and they locked their mouths together. Her undercloth dropped to the ground, forgotten by both, as passion overwhelmed them. They kissed each other hard, neither one willing to back down. Zuko pushed forward, dousing her with testosterone, making her brain sizzle.
Dosing. The word is dosing.
Couldn't it be dousing? Like dousing?
Dousing means to cover somebody in water. It has a W.
Oh, okay, never mind. She breathed in his scent, intoxicating herself on it, until finally Katara couldn't stand it, and she relented, relaxing completely in his arms, his slave, his puppet, his toy to play with. No! Still in that epic kiss, Zuko caught her before she fell, holding her against himself, bracing her with his body. As his own will gave out, he sank slowly to his knees, carrying Katara down with him, gently laying her on the ground, their lips still locked together. Neither one wanted it to break, but fate decreed otherwise, and just for a moment their lips parted, only to be pressed together again for a second time, and then a third, and then a fourth, until they both again became mad with passion. And now they're back. Huh. Stop it! Where am I? Katara was exhausted when their lips broke for the final time, unable to move or protest as Zuko made his way down her neck, starting behind her ear and moving down her nape to the base of her neck, kissing her tenderly all the way. Everywhere his lips touched her sent flashes of electric pleasure through her, so she didn't mind when Zuko kissed her in the hollow of her throat and moved across her chest, slowly pulling open her robe as he went. As soon as he passed over the plane...
Okay, I suppose this is where you could start reading silently if you really feel that bad.
No, it's not that bad yet, or else I'm going to be reading this whole thing. And began to climb the mountains of her breast slowly with care. He made his way up and around her western hill before summiting, making sure to leave his mark on both peaks before descending down the eastern one.
Open the dirty version so I can read what it actually is supposed to say.
Are you really gonna?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm proud of this. I don't know why, but
somewhere here.
There we go.
Just pick
slave,
a place
puppet,
to start.
toy, play with, blah 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 blah. Epic kiss.
Epic kiss, whatever.
Electric pleasure. He wrapped his lips around her dark erect nipple, swirling his tongue around her areola, flicking the tip while he sucked on it. He wanted to make sure he got it nice and wet before he left for her left. Her breasts were wonderful. They'd grown since her time in the South to a nice-sized B cup, and large enough to hold in your hand without feeling too big or too small. Soft but not squishy, firm but not hard. A pleasure to put in one's mouth or fist. They stood up like two perky hills, her nipples like little brown statues. Katara gasped as he let go of the left one, the cold air brushing across her moist nipple as Zuko repeated his success with her red areola, licking it while rubbing the other nipple with his free hand because he could, and it turned her on, before moving down between them to continue his conquest.
And we're closing that. Okay. Here we go.
So funny.
Oh yeah, it's really funny. This is so wrong. Katara's brain was finally able to break away from the electric revelry, and she almost seemed to rise above herself, becoming a witness in the darkness to the
You love that line. This is so wrong.
Because that is that sums this whole thing up. To the forbidden act she herself was committing. All her experience with Zuko, her memories, both hidden and remembered, clashing with the desire she was feeling at this moment. I have to get him off me, she thought, and her arms responded, half-heartedly at most, and rested her hands on Zuko's head, since his were preoccupied, and began to push him. Unfortunately for her brain, she only succeeded in pushing him further down, rather than off. Damn it! Zuko was no amateur, however, and she could read her desires, yet instinct told him to continue slowly, that Katara was different from the other girls he'd been with, more risky and harder to hold on to, as likely to get up and run as to stay put and let him finish. So he stopped at her navel, making sure to plant a ring of kisses around it that sent electricity coursing through her and infuriating her brain.
Wait, go back to the dirty version. I want to read that part too.
Can you read the next part too?
No, I'm not going to read the next part. This is your punishment.
No.
Hang on. So he stopped at her navel, making sure to plant a ring of kisses around it, so that sent electricity coursing through her and infuriating her brain. He swirled his tongue around the hole, then dipped it in, just to see how much he could get away with.
I don't want to read anymore.
Keep reading.
Harder, her brain screamed silently, as much at Zuko as at herself, despising and loving Zuko for his abilities. She gripped his
That's how she feels about my writing.
wiry hair, I was going to say, and pushed, her last chance to escape before she lost herself in pleasure. Unfortunately, she'd only managed to shove his head into her lap. And her willpower failed her there. Come on, Katara! She sank slowly back into herself, a single silent curse to comfort her. Now the darkness was the only witness of what was to come. To be continued. ... Oh, man.
So how are you liking the story so far?
Great. It's great.
See, silently, she knew that this was right.
Okay, here we go. My favorite part. The third act. Oh no, part 3, the third act, and then some.
I love that name.
Understatement.
I love that name.
Okay, here we go. I can do this. I can't do this, but I'm gonna. Okay. Zuko's arms wrapped themselves around Katara's waist, his hands holding her by the front of her legs. Katara's hands had a firm grip on Zuko's hair. Her arms were fully extended, her back arched to give her that extra reach, still pushing in a last-ditch attempt, trying to keep him from claiming her again, from claiming the prize that secretly she wanted him to. No, you don't! You don't understand! Her resistance was futile. Zuko, always the veteran.
So is yours. Your resistance to read the story is futile.
Zuko, always the veteran, pushed forward, slowly, torturing her, making her pull him in. As he worked his way down her thighs, Katara opened her mouth to scream, to put an end to this madness. Yeah, it's madness, I tell you. But all that escaped her lips was a moan, as Zuko locked lips with hers again. And for the first time, she submitted to him again, whatever...
For those of you who don't get that, think of female anatomy and then come back to me.
She submitted to him again, whatever former protest she had, silenced by the pleasure ringing in her ears. Those hands that had now pushed down pulled... Wait, those hands that had pushed now pulled, and she wrapped her legs around his head. Oh my god, urging him onwards. You wrote this, you wrote this, you wrote this.
Marianne, please stop watching right here. Skip forward 15 minutes.
This is now a rated R video. A soon suffocating Zuko pried himself out, lifting the skirt of her robe to locate the source of his irritation. Like most girls of her tribe, Katara kept her legs and her underarms free of hair, as it was embarrassing to go swimming in the summers, and even now she maintained herself as she often found herself in a river or stream in front of others.
The first time she read that, she said, "Thank God." Don't ask me why.
Did I? I don't remember that.
I have it on video.
Wow.
We'll edit that in.
Fire Nation girls, however, were completely clean-shaven, and Zuko sought to rectify the problem. He drew his dagger from its sheath, and with 2 fingers heated the blade till it glowed with the black fire of the inner iron, enough to singe but not to burn. Zuko's powers with a blade was such that he could cut a single hair down its entire length and shave it from the owner's head in a single movement, without injury to the other hairs or the owner. And so he didn't question himself. Zuko pushed Katara's legs apart as wide as they would go. And he was going to do a thorough job, I bet. Tilting the blade at an angle, he brought it down, around, up again, back around, and finally down again. The blade making a slight ting as it cut through the last hair.
Like, ting.
Yep. Zuko rubbed his finger across the now bare patch, perfectly smooth without a single nick or stubble. He blew on her now exposed flesh and claimed it with a kiss.
I'm sorry.
Scrolling.
Loading.
As I recover from each paragraph. All Katara had known was pleasure, and there wasn't any more.
Until there wasn't any more.
Then she saw the steel of the blade and felt its edge as it stripped her bare. The heat of the blade and the cold of his hair.
And the cold of his air.
As he blew on her was bad enough, but when he placed his lips on her newly exposed skin, she felt as though he was branding her, making her his forever. Yeah, whatever. She put her hands on his head to push him off, and opened her mouth to yell and scream, but all that came out was a loud moan, as her body acknowledged his skill, both with the blade and otherwise. She squirted twice against her will, and with it. With one hand, she pushed Zuko back below, and with the other hand she ran her hand over her now bare skin, flawlessly smooth, feeling for the mark he had left on her, but she could find none. The darkness noted only a slight redness where his lips had touched her, and although it would leave no scar that day or after, she knew she would always bear Zuko's mark, always be able to trace it out. Dude.
Okay,
Why?
you could just read this next part
What
silently.
is with the bugs in here? Ah!
Just read the next part silently.
We're being infected.
And we'll just record your reaction.
How far though? I don't know what's happening. I can't remember.
Right to the end, because
the
let's face it.
paragraph or the part?
To the part, because
How
this
long
is
is
where it
this?
gets really, really. You know, you read this already.
Look at how
Listen.
far it goes. Okay.
Listen, the first time she read this, like, she literally stopped and refused to keep
No,
reading, so
no, not
I had
yet.
to read
It's
it.
a little further down, but I know what you're talking about. Now that, I don't know. Okay, I'll read silently, sure.
Okay, you can read it out loud. Go ahead.
I think, yeah, this isn't the part that I'm thinking of. Now that he had complete control of her, is the camera still going, by the way? Zuko could...
Yeah, the camera's still
Okay, Zuko could torture her to their heart's content. He began at her base, tracing his tongue up her... I don't know that word. Along her lips and over her clit, circling it with the tip of his tongue as he finished, and then back to base, repeating. Katara gushed with every movement, and Katara reveled in teasing and tormenting her, making her wet herself continuously until her inner thighs were coated in her own juices. Oh my lord. She desperately tried to hold him there, to make him sit still long enough so that she could absorb the pleasure before she expelled it, but it was in vain. She felt the pressure building all over her body, in her head, all the way to her toes. Katara thought that it would literally come bursting out of her, ending her suffering, and finally, when Zuko suddenly pulled away from her, ending it for her. He knew she'd had enough, that she literally couldn't take it anymore without exploding. He could feel it in every quiver of her body, made every tremor, with every quiver her body made, every tremor and the building tension in every muscle threatening to break her. It was time. He raised himself over her. I'm like so scared. He raised himself over her.
What are you scared of?
No.
You know what's going to happen.
I know. He raised himself over her and kissed her hard, throwing his arms around her so that he could hold her in that epic embrace. Epic kissing out, epic embrace, you guys. She responded, wrapping her arms around him.
Yeah, this turned really cheesy. I'm sorry.
Gripping his shoulders. Two people literally trying to become one. She could taste herself on his lips, and it excited her. She knew she was his, in this time, in this moment. Totally his. Zuko pulled away from her again, taking with him her robe, finally leaving her bare and completely exposed. He looked at her, naked, colored by the moonlight, beautiful, and all his. Loading.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
Katara lay there on the ground like a wounded deer, too exhausted to run, awaiting the first and final blow from the predator above her that would end all her exquisite suffering. That's a cool word to use, exquisite. She could feel the heat radiating from his body, a body that filled her with lust like an animal. The fearful girl in her told her to flee, to run from him, this place, this act, and never stop running. The lusting woman in her demanding that she embrace him and give in to the raging urge. And so she lay there, still waiting, both sides pulling her equally in the opposite directions while she dripped there in the dark. Hating herself for betraying Aang's love. Yes, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to us? Waiting for the punishment that Zuko's tongue had made her need. Wanting the retribution that only he could give her. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he told me that over the phone. I was like, crying. Tears. Katara didn't have to wait long. Zuko was quickly removing...
There's actual tears.
Is there really? Oh, God.
Your tears sustain me.
Your tears only make me stronger. Zuko was quickly removing his only covering, against which he'd been painfully straining to escape since he'd first grabbed her with his lips. Yeah, I bet. He had burning desire for her. He'd wanted to tear her clothes off and nail her to the tree the second he discovered her dripping wet and missing her underclothes. But somehow he'd managed to channel it into a different direction. Zuko wanted more than just to ravage the Water Tribe princess. He wanted to make her want him, to feel the same lust that ached in him for her. So he tortured himself with her, whipping his desire with every touch, crawling in the dirt and the darkness to his goal, and now he could claim the prize of all his efforts.
Keep reading.
And as a prince, Zuko was blessed with the divine right to rule over others, but that wasn't all he was blessed with. His filled out form enhanced more than just his fighting skills, and this was very tall to boot. He was fully clothed now, standing with his tip at her entrance, and was pleased to note he could push Katara's legs apart without having to use his hands. Holy crap. Okay.
I'm sorry.
He rubbed himself all along her waterfall, coating himself in her juices and making her beg for what he already planned to give her. Katara could feel him rubbing himself along her clit. Oh, spirits, he felt big. I cannot read this.
Keep reading.
But the sensation was torturing her. She couldn't keep silent any longer, and his name escaped her lips. All her demands of him wrapped around it in her tone. Zuko, Katara moaned, wrapping her legs.
Zuko!
Yeah, I ain't doing that. Around his waist, trying to push him forward. What? Zuko said smugly. He's so modest about everything. Egging her on, it only served to raise his ire. Although at the moment it was doubtful she could get truly mad at him. You know what? Katara,
you know what?
Yeah. Strengthening.
You know what?
You know what? Katara said, strengthening strengthening her grip on him. Gods and goddesses, he was enjoying torturing her, and she hated him for punishing her by making her wait. See now I can't read this.
Keep reading.
I cannot.
Keep reading.
No, I don't. Zuko said with a smirk. He was enjoying this game as much as Katara hated it. He kissed her lightly to alleviate some of the tension, but that only made hers worse. He let himself rest lightly at her entrance, shouting with Katara's coding now, waiting for the order. You want to make me say it?
Yes, I do.
Katara's annoyance was getting paramount now, surpassed only by her building anticipation. Yes, I do. Zuko was going to get his way, and it just made Katara crazy. Say it. No. Say it. No. Say it and tell me what you... Okay, you continue. Go ahead.
No, you read it.
I'm not.
Read it.
I'll read it, but I'm not reading it out loud because it gets nasty. No, I can't read this.
Read it.
No.
Read it.
No.
Read it.
No. Feel free.
Read it. This is your punishment.
No, I'm not doing it. I didn't do it last time, and I ain't doing it this time.
You did do it last time, and I have video evidence.
You did this part. I know you did. Check the video. It's there.
Fine then. Read it silent and just show the people your reaction.
I don't know why I'm laughing when I'm like half horrified.
The laughter is her horror bubbling up and escaping out of it.
Wait, when I'm laughing, it's just, yeah. Oh God, I'm like down here already. You wrote this. This is all that's in my head now.
You can read it. Zuko obliged and...
Okay. Zuko obliged her and entered her, planting his lips on hers as he slowly and forcefully let himself in. He could feel Katara stretching as he entered her, and the word virgin flashed briefly in the back of his brain as he was stopped by her hymen. Oh my God! Katara moaned thankfully into Zuko's mouth as he pushed his way in before every muscle in her body contracted from the pleasure and pain of Zuko stretching her for the first time. Even though he was going slowly, it still felt like she was getting pulled apart as he took her virginity. Oh God. I can't. Oh my God.
For her future husband, this is exactly what's going to happen. It'll just be a lot of horror laughing.
Just like nervous laughter.
It's just a lot of nervous laughter. No. And no, please.
No.
It's okay. I'm the one who's gonna marry. Don't worry.
He thinks.
Oh, I know.
No.
I know.
Oh God, he's too big. As though she thought, as she gripped Zuko in pain, she could feel his heart beating as well as her as they seemed to sync up as he came to a stop halfway. Zuko pulled out of the kiss and looked at her, his amber eyes locking with her ocean blue ones as he made sure she was okay.
Aww.
Oh, sweet moment in the middle of a realm of horror.
In the middle of a portico.
Katara knew what he was asking, and she answered, wrapping her legs around him tighter and trying to push him deeper past the obstacle to her virginity. She knew it couldn't stop now, that she had to see this through, to feel him all the way inside her. She squeezed his hips, urging Zuko on. Zuko got the message. He knew he had to make this as fast and painless as possible if either of them was going to enjoy it. He braced his hands at the side of her body and rocked himself forward, blasting down right to her core, filling her right up. He felt this sense of pride in his chest as he thrust the last inch inside her. He bent down and kissed her again, making sure she was all right. The shock of losing her virginity, especially to someone like Zuko, was greater than anything that she'd felt before. She gritted her teeth and dug her nails into his back as he pushed into her, filling her up. She'd never known anything like it. It hurt in a good way, and as he planted his lips on her, she let the stress...
It hurt, but in a good way.
She let the stress and pain flow out of her, concentrating on the pleasure of having him so deep inside her. He
How about you reading it so normally now?
I'm just I'm like on autopilot now. I'm just like I'd be in a corner just like rocking back and forth. And see, I killed my mouse just now. I really don't know where it went. No. Flashlight?
I don't have a flashlight, sorry.
No, I'm trying to use this as a flashlight. I'll get it later. When I open the door. Oh, but I can't scroll without it. No.
Wait, are you reading the really dirty version?
No.
Oh, because it says really dirty version over there.
It's over there.
Yeah, because I was thinking, that's not dirty.
Okay, seriously, where'd this mouse go?
Not again.
Not again. It fell somewhere. It's probably under the seat and I just can't reach it. I feel hair. Ugh.
Stop it. You, like no other car has hair in the back seat. Here it is.
Oh, thank you. Awesome.
Yuck. I wouldn't touch it if it's been.
Nah.
If it's been.
There's been a fly on this screen. There's been.
She's grossed out as she's reading pornography.
I'm grossed out in so many ways now.
She has to
I don't know
touch
where'd
the
I go.
mouse.
Where'd I go?
You could just read this silently.
Mark. Oh, this is not bad, I don't think. She'd never known anything like it. It hurt, but in a good way. As he planted his lips on her, she let the stress and pain flow out of her, concentrating on the pleasure of having him so deep inside her. He felt so large, like he was pushing her apart from the inside. She felt the trickle of blood running out, and she knew there was no turning back, but she didn't care. All she wanted was for him to keep going. As she broke the kiss, she whispered in his ear, "It hurts, be gentle."
Okay, now you can read silently because
I
this is
can
the
read
part
this
that you
paragraph?
literally. This is the part that you literally could not read. Like,
oh, yeah.
like.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I really don't. Oh my god.
Wait, where are you?
Censored.
She gasped at pain. Even I can't read it. Even
if he can't read it, there's a problem. Oh my god. And he wrote it. He wrote this.
So while TP laughs her ass off, we're gonna do other fan fictions. I've got the rights to two others. One's called Closet Negotiations, and the other one's called Suki's Master. They're both excellent fan fictions, and she's going to read them both. And I think she's going to enjoy them a lot more than she did this, because these people are much better writers than I am. Are you okay? Are you sure?
Oh, I'm fine.
Does this turn you on?
What the heck?
What? You're reading a porno. I just figured it seems an appropriate question.
Holy heck.
She didn't mind just as long as Zuka didn't stop.
I'm like almost done this.
Katara found her body.
Is this safe? Is this paragraph safe?
I guess. Yeah, that's fairly safe.
Okay, ever the gentleman, Zuko kept his pace, flooding her with sensation after sensation. Katara was completely at his mercy and loved him for it. Zuko had reached her core and kept going, even quickening his pace as he came closer and closer to his own end. Katara sensed Zuko couldn't last much longer, but she didn't mind. In fact, she almost craved it, the anticipation of the final moment driving her forward without care. Zuko released, drowning the flames of her desire.
Stop!
And that's it! Oh no, it's not that bad. Zuko collapsed on top of Katara, and they lay there like a pile of sweating bricks. Zuko moved so not to crush her, and Katara followed, braced up against him. As their blood died down...
Wait, can we open up the dirty version? Because this is where the two of them digress. No, I promise, it's not that bad.
Uh-huh. That's what they all say.
I'm not going to read the dirty bits. I'm just going to read you what the entire sentence is, so that you understand where hot sweating bricks came from. No, up a bit. There we go.
Go on.
He seemed to orgasm for an eternity, finally falling on top of her like a ton of hot sweating bricks. He His weight felt comforting on top of her, laying on her like a protective blanket of muscle, and when he rolled off her, she followed his heat, moving together so they could lie there together, panting in each other's arm, overwhelmed by the exhaustion of babe all night. Of fucking all night. They were soaked with sweat, and as their blood died, you can actually read that. That's not bad.
Dirty version's all yours.